Going live on both, guys. I'm going to pull this screen up. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Filmmaker Q&A tonight, Thursday, February 25th. My name is Sabrina. I am with the Beloit International Film Festival, and I will be your moderator / conversationalist this evening. We have filmmakers from several great films here. Niles, thank you for joining us. We have 1, 2, 3, and then he left. We have 6 filmmakers here from 5, from some great films. We have some narratives, some shorts, and some, technically, I guess we'll consider, well, music videos, and technically, yes, we do. So before we go ahead and get into that, I just want to say welcome, guys. First, our sponsor for this evening for our Q&As is Culver's. We want to thank them immensely for all of their support for the film festival. If you've never tried Culver's, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. So as I mentioned, we have 5 different films and filmmakers or videos. So we have a busy program and we're going to get right into it. I am going to start with, first, before you get too deep into it, I'm going to have you guys each kind of just say who you are and what your film name is. So Nick, we'll start with you.
All right, I am Nick Stange. So my film is We Demand, which is a music video. Basically, I went out, took some footage around the protests in Rockford, and then one of the activists wrote some powerful lyrics, put some music with it that I found, and then, yeah, kind of created that. And then I apologize for the mess. I'm actually a teacher too, so I'm in my teacher office here. So I apologize, everybody, for the mess and clutter behind me.
I think most people that are used to the Zoom life, we're all used to it. Ryan, go ahead. Why don't you introduce yourself and just tell us your film name?
Hi, I'm Ryan Powers. I wrote, produced, and acted in These Parts, which is a very short thriller about a guy having a really bad night. And then the director of that film is actually also in our group right now. So it's a double whammy.
And with that, I'll kind of skip around. Gavin, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Gavin Booth, film director, writer sometimes, directed the short that Ryan just mentioned, and also have a multi-part music video called You Knew It Was Me by the artist Siml, S-Y-M-L. Nobody knows how to pronounce it, but it's Siml.
Hey, Brandon, go ahead.
Hey guys, my name's Brandon, and full name, I guess, Brandon Van Dalen. I am the musician, strategic, and so I put together the music video PBFA, which stands for Past, Behind, Future, Ahead. I guess the full name of it is PBFA Diskettes Retro Wave Remix.
Okay, that's a mouthful. Definitely a mouthful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can explain that later.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to, because you're gonna have to get into that. Niels, is it Niles? Niels, how am I saying it right?
Niels.
Niels.
It's Niels.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your film?
Yeah, I'm Niels Mueller, and I'm the director of Small Town, Wisconsin, shot here in where I am now, Milwaukee, and actually quite even closer to Beloit in Palmyra, East Troy, that area. And I know I'm joined by others, cast and I think some crew, but Small Town, Wisconsin is a feature film set here in our lovely state.
We love it. David, go ahead.
Hi, what's up? David Sullivan. Just got my teeth cleaned.
Wonderful. Thank you for.
Thank you. Yeah, I did it just for you guys. They're a little sensitive, but I'm gonna make my way through it. I got the whitening too. Oh, it hurts. Anyway, I'm part of Small Town, Wisconsin with Niels, and Bill Heck really wanted to be here, but he's shooting in Hawaii and he's not gonna be able to make it.
So he's actually in the room. Do you want? I can have him.
Oh, well, that would be awesome if he
promote him
on.
to.
But yeah,
you know,
he's a busy guy, but I'm glad that he's here, and I'm glad that you put this together for us.
Well, thank you, and we'll give Bill a second. We can. Oh, there he is.
Nice, there he is.
I almost had the afternoon to myself, Sully. After you dragged me in.
Bill, do you want to just kind of
Hi,
introduce
everyone.
yourself real quick?
I'm Bill Heck. I'm a member of the cast of Small Town, Wisconsin. And I might have to peace out in a little bit, but I'm very glad to see you all and happy to be a part of it. Thanks for having us.
Well, thank you. And then she's going to help co-moderate at some parts with us. We have Nancy Clark Mather, who is a BIF board member, as well as a screenwriter, as well as a business owner, and a whole lot of other things. Nancy, is that a good description of yourself?
Thank you, Sabrina. And I may have to peace out a bit early too. So keeping that, we've got drive-ins here this evening, drive-in movies, and I'm going over to set one up. So,
with all of that and just everyone's time, I appreciate everyone coming tonight. So I'm going to kind of start with kind of jump around, but go in order. So Gavin and Ryan, we're going to start with you in these parts. So Gavin, you directed that. Ryan, you wrote and acted in it, and also stars Sarah, who's Gavin's wife.
Right.
So in the film, you kind of described it's a man who obviously has some inner demons. He's going through something. You know, you start off with the film feeling bad for him. He's kind of you think he's maybe endured some trauma, maybe from, we see some pictures in the beginning, but then there's a twist in the middle. And then there's a ending that you maybe didn't expect. So, and I don't want to give it away for maybe anybody that's watching that hasn't completely seen it. So why don't you guys tell us more about the film, how it came to be, how, Gavin, you directing it, Ryan, you writing it, just tell us just more behind it.
It's funny you say that because I was thinking ahead of time, it's so short that anything I could say sort of gives it away. So, I will say, I guess that the inspiration sort of came from the idea that these days people are so accessible with social media and everything that I can understand the feeling of connecting with someone or feeling like you have a genuine connection with someone just from watching their constant content, their feelings, their location all day long, and how for the wrong person feeling that strongly about someone who perhaps, it's a one-sided relationship, it could go poorly if the wrong person felt that way. And as far as how it happened, though, it's kind of a unique story. Gavin, I can let you talk about our building.
Yeah, so Ryan and I just recently moved back from LA to Canada, but Ryan and I were neighbors. So we became friends as neighbors, and Ryan and his husband and Sarah, my wife, and I, we have movie nights all the time. I always talk about the industry and just said, well, the four of us are all in this. We should find a way to work together. So Ryan wrote this great little piece for him and Sarah to star in. We shot it in mine and Sarah's apartment. Everyone who works in our building are camera assistants on, great big shows and work in production design or something. So it's only a building unit of seven different units, but almost everybody in there worked in film. So we just all got together for one day of production and shot this thing for no dollars, just out of a spirit of friendship and wanting to make something in between anyone hiring us to make something.
That's kind of like almost like a dream. You filmed it in one day, and just the kind of, it's almost like, you're the cast of Friends where you guys are all living in the building and you guys are all doing something similar and kind of going with that. So Ryan, you acted in it. Your hair is obviously very different than when the character you played. It's much longer.
Funny you should say that. We've shot right before lockdown and then haircuts went away.
That's right.
Also, I just want to say there's a small world effect here too, because the Small Town guys, your makeup artist Megan is the one who introduced me to David in LA. David, you came to see Last Call in North Hollywood.
Yeah.
Last Call premiered at Beloit, and that's where I met, Megan in the first place. So this year festival is the epicenter of many great connections in the film industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
We like hearing that. It's all about we wish, again, this is the hardest part I think of BIF this year is the virtual aspect is we don't have as much of we're missing the in-person, which we do love. So Gavin, part of, the film and Ryan's story is that, the sound of the film kind of helped capture the visuals that, that especially this man is having, it kind of helped deliver the point and the essence across. I'm familiar with some of your other films, and so it's very reminiscent of another film. I'm assuming this was this sound by Adrian?
Yeah, the music is by Adrian Ellis. He's done my feature Last Call that was at Beloit. He's done all my film work. Wouldn't switch composers for the world. There'll be a point where I can't afford him anymore, and then maybe that's where it drifts away. But until then, every time I hand him a rough cut, he just comes up with the most amazing score. And he's all about approaching it from an emotional point and figuring out what the music should say about the characters, but equally when the music should say nothing and just let the visuals or the characters speak. But you know, it definitely, if you're making a horror thriller, music is the glue. You can't avoid having a great score, or else it's going to pull you out of the movie immediately.
Well, I thought it hit at the right points, and it helped tell the story, I think, in a great way. We talked a little bit in a different panel about, you know, sound and editing, and it definitely did capture that here. I'm gonna kind of jump around. I'm gonna actually stay with you, Gavin. With you have another film. You have many films, so I think you technically have 3 or maybe possibly 8 in the festival this year, depending on how you look at it. No, thank you. So a lot of people, you know, have been affected by the pandemic in ways, and you seem to thrive in it by doing all these films. But so let's talk about your film, or I guess I will say it's a 6-part music video series, You Knew It Was Me. So this was more than just a standard music video. This was more of where you kind of base it on, you know, lyrics of a song help you tell the story. This, for the most part, was all set to instrumental music. Tell us more about the concept of the story, because you directed, wrote it, produced it, and then the music is from Simmel. So tell us more about just the concept of the story and how all that came to be.
So Simmel is a Seattle-based artist. You hear his sad music with his beautiful voice in every Netflix series or network series known to man. I've been fortunate enough, I've directed 6 or 7 videos for him prior to this project. And, you know, his sort of pandemic project was I wrote an instrumental EP. I think the last track of the 6 has some vocals in it. And they said, what do you think about getting a dancer to go out into the desert and do a choreographed dance to each one of these 6 songs? And I said, well, when I listen to it, it sounds like a movie score that doesn't have a movie yet. So let me reverse engineer this. It's no secret, all music video budgets are crap these days. And I just sort of said, I will work with the budget if you kind of give me creative freedom and let me just go make some weird little interconnected 6-part short film, essentially. And they had the trust in me from our previous projects and allowed me to go for it. And it was that, which is always a great relationship with Simmel and his management and label. So I came up with a story, you know, about this woman who was a dancer who is involved in this tragic accident and you know, has to learn how to live life in a wheelchair but still find the enjoyment of dance. We shot it in November in LA, so obviously the pandemic's in full swing. So the actress, Emmy, she's the only cast member. And then we shot it with a crew of 2 people and the occasional runner. So we just pared it down to a cinematographer and myself, sharing all the camera duties and the lighting duties. We shot it over 3 days, which amounts to this 22-minute piece. And I was actually surprised myself with this one. It turned out much better than what we had to work with, and the all elements and forces against us. So that's the gist of it.
Well, I thought you did a great job at capturing the different emotions that, you know, this dancer was going through, from, you know, starting off with her passion, what she was feeling for being a dancer and what that meant for her life, and with everything, I mean, after the accident and how her life changed, but how she could still adapt and still bring her passion forth and her belief in herself, and that her accident wouldn't define her. So I thought you nailed it. I thought it was very well done. So.
Thank you. I mean, with Simmel, again, his music is always so emotional, with lyrics or not. Like, I've been fortunate that he doesn't necessarily like to star in his music videos, so I generally get to make a short film set to his songs each time. So it was familiar territory in a lot of ways. And this is one of the most experimental videos I make, because if you saw my script, it's embarrassing. It's like scribbled on a napkin from like a coffee shop, like this happens, then this, and there were like 7 story beats, and then I just said, okay, now we'll take an experiment and just go to the locations, knowing our main story beats, and just play and see what happens over the 3 days.
So, and like I said, it's in total length, it's broken up into 6 parts, but in total length, it's 22 minutes long. And for, I think, what is it, 17 minutes of it, it's all instrumental. And then the last few minutes of it, there are words, but even when the word, I was kind of, when I was watching it, when the words started, I think I was like, wait, there's words, but I wasn't focused on the words. I was focused on the story that was being told and just how beautiful it was interconnected with each other. So
it was interesting because he had, I only heard it as all instrumental. And then I was in editing. They said, oh, by the way, there's this version coming out on the vinyl edition where it has lyrics in part of the song. And they're like, maybe we should try it with that. And the first time I heard it, it was so jarring. I said, no, get rid of this. And, you know, we had worked, you hear a little bit of dialogue from the characters sort of interspersed throughout the other parts. But then once I heard the music, and I thought there's this moment where she's regaining her freedom and her confidence in herself. And that's where the lyrics kick in. And it's almost as if his voice serves her inner voice. And then from that, once I had that idea, it's just like, okay, no, this is perfect. And we need to keep plus his voice is amazing, voice of an angel. And usually most of his songs, put him on, he's always on like Spotify's like saddest songs on the planet list and things. So it just elevated it's even, I mean, his music was in Last Call. It's the end credit song. It's in our trailer. Like it's a very small universe in my filmmaking world.
well, you use all your resources, all your friends. They're all, you know, even going with Ryan, you know, you guys, you tap into the right places.
Listen, I only move into places if I'm going to have talented neighbors. It's got to be in the lease agreement.
Okay.
And then you just moved out. So how are we supposed to feel about that?
I moved back to my hometown in Canada, and I have not found, I'm not surrounded by the same caliber of talent anymore. Let's just put it that way. Yeah.
Wait a second. Don't we live in the same building?
Okay, so let's small town Wisconsin, and Nancy, I think you had some comments, and I know you wanted to kind of jump in here and with that. So I'm gonna tell us about this. Like, I want you guys to truly like give us more of the in-depth of the story. There was a lot, and I'm gonna tell you, this is one of the things of the comments we received. I'm gonna read a comment that we received so far. It says, not sure who labeled Small Town Wisconsin a comedy, because it's definitely, okay, I'm gonna stop there, because, actually, I'm just gonna read it. It is an interesting film set in small town Wisconsin, but not representative of a small town in Wisconsin in any way. It's a drama about unconditional love between a father and son, friendship and family, and the ravages of alcoholism. It's a movie that tugs on the heartstrings. Really, it's a drama that takes place in any state, small towns, or big. Now, this is the line that says, I cannot say I enjoyed watching this movie, but I'm glad I did. And it isn't one that I will ever forget easily.
Wow.
So,
Can you send that to me? Maybe we can try to squeeze all that onto a poster.
So
Jeez.
I'm like, I feel like we're reading again, because I'm like, if you don't listen to the entire thing, it sounds like it sounds bad, but it's not. It's actually, and this was the comment we received day one of the festival.
That's funny. It's I showed my mom the film. You didn't ask me a question. I'm just jumping in.
Please go ahead.
She came out to visit when we were shooting near Milwaukee, and we were shooting a fun seat at the gas station where Bill and I were just kind of. I was cracking on him. He was cracking on me. He was trying to tell me how to live my life. I was calling him an idiot, and we were having fun. And my mom thought the same thing. She was like, "Oh, this is going to be such a funny movie. I can't wait to see David be funny." And she was one of the first people that I showed when Niels sent me a link to see the film. And I was visiting her back in Paris, Texas, and I let her watch it on her own. And she came out of her office and she was like, "I'm so mad at you." And I was like, "Oh, no, what's wrong, Mom?" She's like, "This movie was supposed to be funny." And she just laid into me, and she like her face was all red and she was shaking. And I was like, "Mom, what it was kind of funny, wasn't it?" And she was like, "No, you didn't tell me that it was going to make me cry." And it was just so sweet of her, so earnest and honest. And that's when I because like, you know, I watch different cuts of the film, and you know, it gets tighter and it gets shorter, and some of the good things that you think should stay in there get cut, and some of the things you get cut end up staying in there. And so in my mind, I knew it was a pretty good movie, but I didn't know how good it was until my mom gave me that really, really honest reaction.
And I'll hop in there real quickly if I might. First of all, I love the comment from the viewer, and we all bring our own experience, our own lives to the films we watch, especially ones like this that resonated with her, I think you said, or him, so powerfully that it's going to stay with them for the rest of their lives. And you know, as a filmmaker, it doesn't get better than that to hear that. I disagree with her that it's not a comedy. I think it's everything. We did the Reykjavik Film Festival disagrees as well, because we won Best Comedy Feature at Reykjavik. However, my disagreement is very slight, because I agree with really everything in that really lovely review, because it is a hard-hitting film also. But you know, I mean, that's the beauty of film or music, right? We all take different things from a film, and I love that it resonated that powerfully with her.
So Nancy, did you have anything you wanted to? I know you had some questions and some
Yeah,
comments.
I really wanted to, I was assigned, I'm a pre-screener, and I was assigned to the features this year, and Small Town was my favorite feature, I have to say. It absolutely, thank you for making it. It caught me from the beginning. I'm just going to read right off of my notes here. I thought the setup was just excellent. You know, it showed his type A, David, your Wayne's type A personality right off the bat. The beer before 4 o'clock, you know, everything was just set up. You didn't have to question it. And then I Fall to Pieces with Patsy Cline, you know, and it just took me on this trip from there. You know, and I've dealt with some of this stuff myself, you know, so there was all that behind it. The scenes that I jotted down here, the scene at the dining room table when Wayne had his kid there, who was just a phenomenal kid actor, and he was telling him how his dad acted at that table. It just showed the generational disease of alcoholism in a poignant way, you know. And this guy Wayne, I mean, he was a good dad. He was trying to do better, but he just couldn't set it down. He couldn't put that bottle down, and it just kept taking stuff. And man, I'll tell you, you guys just portrayed it so well. You know, the heartbreaking ball game scene. Oh my God. You know, I just wanted to get on and say thank you. I'm a screenwriter. Gavin was kind enough to read my screenplay last year, Opiates, A Family Affair. Same thing, you know, same thing. Just, you know, losing the kids, losing the family, getting kicked out. And it's tragic, but I did see the humor in it. Between everything in there, the writing, the cinematography, and the casting, I don't know. I don't think you could have asked for any more. It nailed it for me. And the ending was good with me, because I couldn't really tell. It looked to me like he opened the beer and he put the dollar in the jar, you know. So there's your crossroads right there. It's your choice. I love endings like that.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say good job. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And I love you talking about that scene. You're a screenwriter yourself, so you know how difficult it is to do backstory and do it well. And that's a scene, you know, at the invitation of the original writer, a scene that Jason Nachek, lovely writer, but that's a scene I wrote and brought to the film, because I really wanted the film to have that sense of, exactly as you described it, that generational history. And what is it? What exactly is going wrong in the heartland right now? And even in the context of a film that has at its center this very lovely father-son story with so much heart and humor, we're trying to look at that. Jen, it sounds like you've also written on that as well with the script you mentioned. So yeah, I love that you brought up all of that. And you know, and if you're going to take alcoholism seriously, which we certainly do in the film, you can't wrap it all up in a bow by the end. And so which choice Wayne makes, Sully might give you one answer, I might give you another answer. It's like a great Beatles song. You know, one person hears Strawberry Fields Forever one way and another person hears it another way. Well, then it's now up to everybody else what decision they think Wayne will make in the future. You know, we don't know.
Yep, love it.
So we have a question from Jeff here in our audience. It says, Niels, David, and Bill, I really enjoyed Small Town, Wisconsin. The characters, the story, and scenery seemed very accurate. I'm a divorce lawyer in a small town, Wisconsin. You know people just like the ones in the film, right? So they want to know, was it autobiographical in any way? And just want to note the acting was fantastic and completely convincing.
Well, I'll just answer real quickly and let Bill, and if Bill is still able to be with us, and David talk about what they brought of themselves to their parts. Script wise, Jason's not with us right now on the call, so I don't know how much was autobiographical for him. For me, with the work I did on the script at his invitation, and then directing wise, it's a very personal story for me. I grew up with folks like Wayne and like Chuck, worked with them, and my father, until he retired, had an office furniture store. I worked with them in the warehouse, guys who drove in from small town Wisconsin to work there. So I just knew these characters. And when you talk about the authenticity of the performances, which seems to be a great running theme on this call, which I love hearing, because I couldn't have, in my opinion, ended up with a more stellar cast. But I really wanted the cast to be able to spend time in Wisconsin before we started shooting, and they all came out 2-3 weeks early, and they really soaked in Wisconsin as we prepared to make the film. But I'll let Sully talk about whatever he might have brought to the character of Wayne.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a drunk myself, and no, I'm kidding. Well, it depends on who you ask. But no, I didn't. As you know, Wayne obviously struggles with a lot of things, alcohol being one of them. But I think what he struggles most with is understanding that what he's doing is not necessarily right or correct or good, seen through the eyes of other people. And I think, you know, there are so many of us like Wayne. There are so many of us who are just trying to do the best that we can. And we're trying so hard to do good that oftentimes we don't really see the bad that we're doing. And we don't see other people's perspectives because we only have one set of eyes. So I don't know. I just saw Wayne as a guy who was doing the best that he could. And that's kind of what I am. So is it semi-autobiographical? I guess. I mean, I have a son. I'm not married to his mom. We had, you know, we've had problems, but at the end of the day, I'm doing the best I can. And I think that's what Wayne was trying to do as well.
Phil, did you want to add anything?
I'll just say that whether or not it was directly autobiographical, almost everybody involved with the film had some pretty deep connections to Wisconsin. All through my growing up, lived just south of the border, went up to my grandma's in northern Wisconsin all my life. Niels is from there, obviously. Kristen's from there. Tanya's from there. A lot of local crew. The whole process was deeply steeped in the community. So whether or not the plot is derivative of somebody's actual experience, the sense of the film is very much steeped in that world, and a lot of people bringing their personal connections to it in that way. So we were fortunate in that regard.
So what I'm hearing is Wisconsin is a great place to film, and everybody should just come and film all of them.
Yes,
Correct.
yes, 100%. Sorry, as a good friend who came out from LA to visit said to me, the people here are aggressively friendly. And that's really how we found it. We were really invited by just about everybody to come film. I just was with the manager, the Pfister, who saw the film for the first time last night. But everybody said, come and film. And we couldn't have made the film without Milwaukee behind us. The D'Amatos who gave us our office space and who really wrangled all of our shooting on the roads. And I could just list such a slew of people, but Milwaukee made this movie, and Wisconsin, really. We got so much support.
Sabrina, can I pop in here?
Go ahead.
I'm going to have to jump off, but after all that, I just want to tell everybody, I just opened a film-friendly location services here in Beloit. It's called Beloit Filmworks, so keep it in mind.
Oh, great.
I'd love to hear it. Yeah. And it's so nice to talk with everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your kind words in response to the film and for
bet.
joining us.
Keep us in mind. We're here. Bye now.
Bye. Okay, so well, thank you. I'm gonna continue on. So I'm gonna go on to does that mean that last is least? Just who I go with. So Nick, with We Demand. So Nick, you've had films in the festival for 4 years now, 5 years, right? And obviously there's a documentary element to this film. But this video I think hits close to home for not just Beloit being that Rockford's so close, but for many across the country, because you were able to bring to the screen the feelings and emotions that were happening around the world last year. So tell us, because you've primarily submitted documentaries that have focused around veterans, tell us how you got involved with this project. Why this video? Why this topic?
I think when the George Floyd protest happened across the country, just like everywhere else, Rockford, organized. And I think it was the U.S. history teacher in me first I realized that this was a important moment in history. And I thought I'd go out there with the camera, take some pictures, document some stuff, use it in the classroom. And then it just kind of really blew up from there. And I also knew that I wanted to do something else. And I needed to figure out a way to use my privilege to find a way to help the cause. And the more I started going out there, the more I was really moved by what was happening. Some of the things I saw, hit hard. So this is kind of a first in a series that I'm going to put together and put out there to share the story of what's happening in Rockford. And what I saw take place, we had a Back to Blue rally here in Rockford on, I think it was the end of July. I think it was the 1st of August. And so there was a counter protest in Leslie, and this is May 30th Alliance, is the group that I kind of, I documented there. And they counter protested that. Afterwards, there was one of the Black to Blue rally members was there, instigated basically a conflict, and that led to basically cops pulling out the gear, pepper spraying everybody, pointing guns, literally had a gun pointed at me, probably filled with the rubber bullets, but still, and that was kind of eye-opening. I knew something had to be done about this. This is a reoccurring problem in America. This isn't unique to Chicago, some of the other big cities. This is happening across the country. The systematic racism that exists, and I wanted to draw attention to that. And this Leslie Rolfe, who provides the narration and lyrics to the music video, he sacrificed everything. I mean, the guy straight up quit his job, organized the May 30th Alliance. So our big main first protest was May 30th. And that led to basically the police using their riot gear, arresting people. And he was so outraged by what he witnessed there, people getting falsely arrested, that they put together this May 30th Alliance. And they came up with a list of demands that they want to see, and they've been protesting ever since. And the reason I want to do a series on this is because this stuff doesn't happen quick. The Montgomery Bus Boycott, where Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King made a name for themselves, was 381 days. So we need to sustain the pressure on the community to create that tension. I mean, direct action is about creating tension so people can't ignore it. They're forced to a negotiation table, and change happens out of that. So I'm just trying to do whatever I can to help keep that tension there, to have these honest conversations so we can't ignore them and forget about it and just have this happen again 20 years later. The cycle has to break.
I think that's a big part. I mean, we hear people wanting to change, but until you start taking part of the change, even in any small way, change has to happen. People have to make the effort in order for change to happen. It's not, not just going to come by, so it's not just going to happen. Oh, wait, we want change. It's going to fly by us by here. But what was it like being down there and capturing that footage? I mean, because there were some intense moments in other footage that I saw.
It was, it was crazy, to be honest. I mean, it happened so quick, and, things just happened. It was hard. A lot of that footage I didn't watch for weeks later. because I didn't know how to process it. I knew I was capturing stuff that was going to be powerful. So it was hard to watch it after that night. I mean, I saw a 13-year-old girl get pepper sprayed right in the face. This 13-year-old girl pepper sprayed for nothing. The protesters were in a designated area. So it was tough, emotionally draining some nights. And yeah, so a lot of the footage I had to wait a long time before I even went through it and started organizing it and stuff. And then you go through it and then you're kind of, looking at it again. But at the same time, there's 5 individuals of this May 30th Alliance that are still out there. They've literally been occupying the city hall for over 100 days in Rockford. And even when it was sub-0 degrees temperatures here the last 2 weeks, they were out there every night. So I feel an obligation to help spread the word for them, so they can have some more pressure, so they get to have a voice, or a bigger voice, and I can be like a megaphone and just like, kind of create like an echo of this voice, or to amplify it for them, is what I'm trying to do.
Well, I think you did a great job at doing that. I mean, I think that's kind of going into the power of film, of any kind of film, whether it's a music video, whether it's a short film, long film, anything, it's the power of film and how people walk away from it. And I walked away from it, my eyes a little bit wider. I mean, I remember last June and seeing everything, and it's good almost bringing it back, because sometimes people become complacent, and it's like, oh, well, it's been almost, it's been 6 months now, and were we just going to forget? No, we need to keep on remembering so it doesn't continue to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, Leslie says in his lyrics, this revolution is going to be televised and is being televised right now, and it's important to remember that. And hopefully through the series too, I think they've been vilified too for their actions. I mean, at the end of the day, you have these 5 people who have literally quit their jobs to fight for better rights. And I don't understand how that's been vilified in our city or across America of some of these organizations. And that's problematic too. So I hope through the series, we can bring that to light as well.
Well, I thought you did a great job bringing the lyrics and the music with the footage. It was wonderfully done. So that's Brandon, last but not least, I promise you are not the least of this. So again, just my thing, the song and the video was kind of about a man who was questioning his own accountability and things. And after literally and figuratively tripping into an opportunity, sees things from the past and the future, and he chooses to live his life in the now and be accountable. Tell us about the video, tell us about the song and how you wanted to tell that story.
Sure. So this was a song that was like a few years old, and we just totally revamped it. I did a reimagined songs project, and this was the first song. This was the most drastic change. Yeah, and essentially the lyrics are, the past is behind and the future is ahead. I'm living in the moment, and like choosing to do that, not letting your past cling to you, not letting it drag you down, sort of releasing that and living in the now, trying to be the best version of yourself in the current moment.
I love the little editing and graphic details, taking it back to the 80s or taking it in the forward of the elements of the future, the phone that just kind of pops up, just those little tiny things help tell that story. I felt like Gavin's shaking his head like, yes. So,
I got to credit my my editor and the guy that did the video, Casey Gallenberger, for that.
So I'm going to I want to ask this question, and I'm going to kind of circle back in a lot of ways. So, and Gavin and Brandon specifically, you guys both have done obviously music videos. In the current age where we're seeing less and less music videos, not like before where every song had a music video released to help tell the story. A lot of artists now are just kind of bypassing and just releasing songs. tell us why there's a kind of a need for music videos, whether it's a pop song, a rap song, or instrumental piece. Why do you feel like music videos still play such a vital role in music and how it helps tell that story?
I mean, the honest truth is artists don't need us filmmakers anymore. They've all got iPhones, they've all got laptops, they've all got graphics packs they can download. Like, it's very easy for an artist to create their own content now. And a lot of it is just that. It's important to have content out. I don't necessarily know if fans need music videos, which I know I'm speaking against what I like to do and how I like to pay my bills. But I think the truth of it is, like, the music video is still an art form. There's still a lot that can be done. There's so much. For me, it's an expression of just one. I love to work, so it's a fun way to just have projects constantly. I get to tell narrative stories. I get to do experimental stuff. I get to, work with different cast and crew. So I think we're always striving to tell a story. For me, it's about trying to tell a story you wouldn't expect from the song. So I try to give people something, a second round of enjoyment or a second round of expression with the song, where they wouldn't necessarily expect the story that I'm telling. So that's kind of my goal when I go into these things, is what's the angle, what's the story that wouldn't be the typical expectation of the lyrics. So I'm always trying to figure out a way to do that. And I just think that that's a fun way. Me personally, I still love music videos. And I do think music videos are out there. It's just with the loss of sort of like the MTV generation rotation, much music in Canada, that we, they're out there on YouTube, and it's still a big industry for people to have these pieces. It's just a continual shift in the industry, and there's also a lot. It's easier to create live content and acoustic content, and just social media posts where an artist can be standing in line at Starbucks and talk to their audience live for a minute. That supplants artists in the 80s and 90s couldn't do that. They had to have music videos as that form of communication.
Brandon, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah,
As an
I agree
artist
with
too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I agree with a lot of what he said about the changes. But I think a big part of it, he talked about telling the story and like the message. Like for my songs, I feel like that's such a huge thing. And being an artist as well as a musician, I like the visual storytelling aspect as well. I always joke that I always have a music video idea for every single song that I write and put out. And so to be able to do that is not feasible, but to have something that you feel like people will connect with, and it sounds like that is happening, which is awesome. And that's what it's all about. So with the lack of the live gigs this year, I really got into the video side, the live streaming and making these music videos. I did a whole thing on my iPhone with my daughter, and just I did this PBFA video, and just producing that content, but making sure that it has something that's going to stick and connect with people and get that message out.
And it's kind of going with Kevin's, it's creating the content, but I think you found a way to tell your story and through your music. But going back, so tell us, Brandon, go into a little bit more about PBFA and the meaning and the name behind it. You talked about it earlier a little bit.
Yeah, so Diskettes Retrowave Remix is what it's called. Diskettes is the guy that did the remix. Retrowave is sort of just a kind of it sounds throwback, but it also sounds modern. And so that's kind of the vibe I was going for with it.
Okay, I wanted to hear a little bit about that. So Ryan and Gavin, I'm gonna go back up to you. Tell us during film, I know you guys said you guys did this really quickly and short, but what was like was there a moment during, whether it was the filming, the writing, the editing, that you knew that you got it right?
Oh boy.
So Ryan, maybe we start with you as the writer. How did you know
Yeah.
that you got the story right when you were writing it?
Well, I don't know that there was a moment when, I started patting myself on the back or anything like that, but it was sort of, I'll say this about working with Gavin, is that he was a really great match for me, because I sort of approach things as an absolute worrywart, to say the absolute least. And like, so things I've done before, months and months and months of preparation and thousands of dollars. And he sort of taught me and inspired me. Like, he much more has the attitude of shut up, just go do it. And so that this was a unique process, because it was just like, let's take our friends in this apartment, throw us together without any money or anything, and just do something. So we didn't really know how it would turn out. We just sort of did it and had that mentality that he is so good at having. And then it was later, I would say, because not only did he direct, but he edited and did everything, that I think once we were in the editing process, we were like, oh, shit, we sort of can piece this together in a really cool way that it isn't even just how the script look. It's just through our conversations afterwards, after getting the footage, it was like, oh, we can chop this up, and show it not even chronologically, and make a really, so I found it to be the editing process where I was most excited.
I'll say the same thing, because the script was great. The performances that Sarah and Ryan were giving on set are awesome. It doesn't always happen this way, but you strive for this, that at each stage of production and post-production, the film just gets better and better. So our edit was better than the day on set of shooting, which was better than the script, starting from great already. And then, it's the music and sound for me in a horror movie. The minute you add that, that's, like I say, that's the glue. It sets the mood and the tone so much, and you've got to get that right. For all the work and the editing and the acting and everything else, it just doesn't work if the sound design doesn't sort of get under your skin. It's a pretty unsettling little short film. Nobody should be in the situation that Ryan's character is in. We're working with limited lighting budget and all these other, like no budget. So all of that, the music and the sound design that George Flores, our sound designer, did is what that's when I just could sit back and say, okay, no, there's a really fun little movie in here.
Well, I will say, having no budget, you guys did fantastic. Like, just the cinematography, you said there was no lighting. Yeah, there was a darkness, I think, in the lighting, but I think it actually worked out perfectly to how the character was and how internally dark he was. So I think it actually added elements to the film that I thought were great.
Did you catch my cameo?
No. Okay, so I saw the ending during the credits that apparently you play basically the paparazzi.
I'm the voice of the paparazzi, so
And I did not put, and obviously I know your voice. I didn't put that together with the fact of, maybe because I was just staring at Sarah so much that I
think it's because I'm just such a great actor. I'm available now for bookings off of this limited voice role. I'm going to get a talent agent. I really feel like I'm calling. I'm going to stop directing.
Now you're just really adding acting to your repertoire as a director, writer, producer.
I'm pitching David something in an email right now where we're going to co-star in it, and he's going to direct me this time.
That's right.
So
That's
David, perfect timing of popping back on. I know Niels and Bill had to leave. Tell us, was there a moment during filming, as far as your role as an actor, that you knew that you had got it right as Wayne?
No. It was my first time. Well, no, I guess my first time in a film to play an actual drunk, and I didn't know if I was doing a good job or a bad job. And Niels, in the brief time that we got to speak with him, he's such a sweetheart. He's so sweet, and he's so thoughtful, and he's very giving. He's very generous and supportive. And I honestly, the insecure actor brain that I have, I was just like, man, is he just being nice? Like, I wish he would, because how drunk am I supposed to play this? Am I fall down drunk? Am I stand up drunk? Am I a functioning alcoholic? Like, no, there wasn't. It was just basically me having faith in the people around me. Me having faith in the cast that Niels surrounded me with, because if you're surrounded with such great people, you can't really go wrong. Because if I mess up or if I fall down, then they're just going to pick me up, or they're going to carry the scene themselves. So I never really felt like I never felt comfortable. And I'm learning that as an actor, when you start to feel comfortable, you're not really pushing yourself. So I'm kind of grateful that I didn't really ever feel like I got it right. Now that I've seen it, I'm like, all right, Dave, you did a pretty good job. But up until, 6 months ago, I was like, golly, I hope I didn't ruin this movie.
Well, I think you said two good things there. You said, you surround yourself with people that will pick you up when you fall down. I think that's kind of a good philosophy for life. Surround yourself with good people, but also as an actor to never feel comfortable, to always push yourself.
Yeah.
So those are two good lessons to share and, insights.
Yeah, I wish that I could find comfort in the discomfort, but there's just something there where it's like, God, this feels, I mean, it's I don't know, as an actor, you want to portray life, and you want to portray life in an authentic way. And you would like to think that you're more comfortable in your own life. But when you're acting, it's like, well, I'm just putting it out there, and I hope it lands on its feet. I hope some good story gets told by it. So yeah, I was really fortunate to be surrounded by those folks.
Okay. Brandon, what about you? Was there a moment that you knew after, whether it was during filming or during writing or during performance, like that you knew you got what the story you wanted to tell in your video, right?
A lot of it came down to, I think, afterwards, putting it together, because we didn't know if the effect we put on the 80s part if that was going to work. I didn't even know how to do that, so like I said, I credit that to the other guy. But just like the uncomfortability of being in either situation, how that was gonna like if that was gonna come off the right way. So yeah, it was tricky.
Were you uncertain at all about your massive and committed beard change in the production?
Yeah. So that was all like right there. So it was okay, film the next part. So I had to plan that out too.
Good catch.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, good catch.
Nick, was there a moment that you knew with all the footage and the story and the essence that you were trying to capture with the lyrics and the music, that you knew that you got it right at the end, or was it during, or?
Well, I don't know if I got it right. I think it's gotten some good response. Sharing it with Leslie, seeing that he felt good about that. That went a long way. I guess time will kind of tell. It's going to be getting the eyeballs on it, people being aware, and hopefully that this creates some uncomfortableness in the area. So I guess once people start getting mad at me for it, and we get that angry backlash, then I think we'll have an idea that we did something right. So I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. So as long as we get the eyeballs on it, it creates awareness, it creates some tension, makes some people uncomfortable throughout the whole series and everything. I think then we got something there. So hopefully it gets people intrigued, and people will continue to follow along as we tell the story.
Well, I think what is it kind of in the showbiz, you kind of made it when people start hating you, or they start, start making comments of negative, and so you have that, you're like, oh, you did something right, because it struck a chord with somebody. Gavin, what about you with your 6-part series, from writing it, directing it, like you played all the hats in it, except for the only thing you didn't do with that in it?
Probably first day on set, Emmy Newman, who stars in it, fun fact, legendary actor Paul Newman's granddaughter. She choreographed the dance herself. Again, we didn't really have the budget or the time frame to do much more. So when I started to see the dance work on camera, because you also had to dance in a wheelchair, that's not easy, and then make a dance that could be done in both forms. The minute I started to see her dancing, and I was like, okay, I knew we cast her for a reason. I knew that she was perfect for the role. But I had only really seen like iPhone videos of, hey, I'm thinking about this for the dance moves, and I cast her to have that freedom. I'm like, I don't know anything about dancing. I just kind of know the mood I want. You go be an expert at it. So as soon as that started to come together on camera and I could see some of the footage back, I knew it was going to work. But it is a project that I really found in the edit, especially since there's no dialogue and it's kind of a loose narrative, I had a lot of freedom to rearrange and even moving elements from one chapter to the other. So there's always a bit of a chess match of having the 6 timelines of each chapter and moving them around. And you know, there's moments where it's kind of flashing forward to where we're going to end up in the story in the other chapters. All of that was not in any sort of script or ideas on set. That all came together kind of in the edit process of figuring out how to. And I've got a feature film I want to make in a very experimental style like that. So that's kind of most things I'm doing in a music video is always some sort of test ground for what I want to do when it's my own money and my own time. Experiment with other people's money, then perfect it when it's your own money.
That's a good thing. So let me ask one question before I have a couple more, 2 questions for the rest of you, but I'm gonna ask one more question to Gavin. So it's like I've mentioned, it's in 6 parts. So in the block, it's actually like you have one part 1, and then you have a couple other shorts and then parts. So it's literally broken up. Should people watch it broken up completely, like with other things in between it? Or is it the end goal, like eventually will it be released as a full 22 minutes in one entirety?
It's interesting. It's going to some other festivals too, and they're showing it as one contained piece that will be released. It was released sort of weekly and almost like episodic, like a web series or a short form digital series. So the band did that. I mean, mostly because that smartly drags out promotion and doesn't, you know, get more bang for their buck. But I think it serves as one piece. It has a flow. That music has a flow. It all is telling one story over the 6 chapters. So I'd recommend. I know what happens. People watch 2 chapters of something, they're never coming back to see the rest. We don't have that luxury anymore in life. There's too much content in the world. So
I don't know about that. I mean, there's the binge watchers of the world that if you give them all 20 episodes or something, they're going to sit down and watch 20 episodes.
True. It's me with the Queen's Gambit. Just don't end. Just keep going. I want to say Niels isn't here anymore, but you know, doing my research, he wrote Tadpole, which was one of the first movies ever shot on a digital video camera, which was around the time I was starting to make movies, which made me say, I'm going to buy a camera just like that and go make a feature because I can't afford film. And I wish I had a chance to say that to him, but I didn't realize he was going to have to.
Well, I will send you his contact information and you can contact him. And
I will kiss his praise in email then.
So Gavin, tell us, I'm going to start with you. What's next for you?
Oh boy. I'm shooting a new feature in June, pandemic pending. It's a very small contained thriller. We've got a cast of 4 people. So we're looking at a bubble scenario where we can just keep everybody really safe, shoot it in a short amount of time. It's called Bless His Little Heart. And all I'll say now is it is cult related, but not in the way that people would expect.
Okay. And Ryan, what about you? What's next?
Hi. In addition to just auditioning, I would say I'm bouncing back and forth, developing a multicam comedy sitcom aimed for a younger audience, as well as like an adult devastating horror drama. So depending on how I feel that day, I choose which way I want to go. And most days lately, it's the devastating horror drama.
Okay. Sounds interesting. David, what about you? What's next for you?
Yeah, I have a show called The Wilds that's on Amazon Prime right now. And I actually leave tomorrow. What is today? Is today the 26th?
It's 25th.
25th. Sorry, I leave day after tomorrow to go to Australia to shoot season 2. So I'll be there for another 6 months and taking it back to the island and trying to see, what's going to happen next season.
I feel like each time we talk, David, you're just about to hop on a plane to go to New Zealand or Australia. You're always about to leave somewhere for 6 months.
That's exactly right. The first season we shot in New Zealand, and and Amazon loved it, and they started airing all the episodes in December, and it was a big hit because of me. No, it's because of the girls. The show's about these girls who get trapped on this island, and they have to learn how to survive and how to help come together and help each other. And I'm the trauma specialist that they talk to once they start to get rescued. It's no secret that some of them get rescued. So I'm the guy that they talk to, and now we're gonna start second season after we quarantine for 14 days in Australia. So
I was just going to ask that because I had heard, I've seen kind of online where Australians, they're really strict about their quarantine. Like they make you stay at a hotel and you have
Yep.
to do these things. Like,
it's crazy. Like they have government agents pick you up from the airport and escort you to not your hotel, but a quarantine hotel with everybody else who have flown in, and they have armed guards at the end of each hall to make sure you don't leave your room. So you're stuck in your room for 14 days. And so I have an exercise bike coming that I'll probably never use. I have some dumbbells that they're going to give me and a jump rope. Other than that, guys, send me all the links to all the good things that are out right now.
Hey, listen, if you get really bored, we could shoot a movie over Zoom or something.
I like that. I like that.
Nick, other than obviously teaching, and I know you talked a little bit about continuing this as a series, what else is on the horizon for you?
Outside of at night trying to edit the rest of the series, I'm looking at my board here. We're working on the vet project's working on a documentary that'll probably turn into a series on female veterans and the sexual harassment they faced while serving. We have another doc we're working with a lady about her addiction, her drug addiction, and kind of how the family kind of got torn apart about that on a doc. Yeah, those are the two big things going on. So that will be working with student work on that, or former students, some current students as well on those two.
Nick, were you able to get your students involved with the festival this year virtually?
Virtually, like sharing some stuff, watching some stuff, yes. We did not have, COVID hit us hard at the end of the school year last year. So the take your own notes, we were hoping to get done, but they had to go on pause because COVID kind of smacked us right in the face on that. But as far as the individual projects, kids are still chugging away at that too, which is a little bit separate from the festival, So
Well, I hope that the kids that, especially with the Harlem Vet Project, I hope they get to get back out there and start interviewing again soon.
Yeah.
Because it's an important program what you guys do, and we really enjoy it here in Beloit. Brandon, what about you? What's next on the horizon?
I have 2 singles that I'm just literally just finished today. Those will be coming out. I might do a video for one of them. We'll see. Probably at least one of those, but I'm also working on a full-length album and probably a kids album as well. So I'll probably have at least 25 songs come out this year. And I really caught the video bug last year. So I'll be trying to do at least one video for each of those things.
Okay. So, and then the last question is, Brandon, I'm going to start with you since you kind of ended. If for somebody, you're in an elevator and you meet somebody, the stranger who hasn't seen your music video or heard your music, give me a quick elevator pitch that you would give to them to watch it.
Always strategic is, it's meant to be encouraging. It's meant to be motivational, realistic as well with, life's problems, but also making progress, continuing to move forward. And like I said before, just being your best self. And I think, being able to live in the moment, being able to appreciate life and what you have. And so it's about that and love.
That's good. David, give us the elevator pitch for small town Wisconsin.
Oh man, I suck at these. I thought you were gonna ask a different question. An alcoholic father loses custody of his son, and he has one last weekend to try to make it right and win his son back, and the love and the respect that he deserves from those closest around him. But will he be able to do it? That's it.
Okay. Ryan, in these parts, give us your best elevator pitch.
In these parts is a short warning video on why not to fall obsessively in love with someone who doesn't know you exist.
Okay.
Don't
That-
do it.
That's it is a warning label, really. Gavin, do you want to add anything for in these parts?
No, because then it would give away the whole plot because it's such a short film.
That is true. But yeah, but even for a short film, it was very powerful for even the whole 7 minutes and 19 seconds. I think it was something ish. 7 minutes. We'll go with that.
I'll just say sometimes being famous sucks, and if you watch, you'll find out why.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So for you knew it was me, Gavin. Go.
Please watch my music video because it'll be better than me pressing this emergency stop button in the elevator. No, I'll say this. Here's a video. It's going to make you sad, but if you keep watching, you will find hope and humanity out there, and that's why.
That's a good way to put it. And Nick, what's your elevator pitch?
If you care about social justice, watch We Demand, and then go follow May 30th Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And then find a way to get actively involved in your local community, because nothing's going to change without action.
Nothing's going to change. That's a good way. That's a good saying. Thank you. So I want to thank you guys all for tonight. Hopefully I wasn't too bad as a moderator for you guys. For everybody watching on whether it's on Zoom here or on Facebook, you've still got plenty of time to watch every one of their films, the short blocks, the narrative, everything. You can go to beloitfilmfest.org. If you want to follow any of these guys on social media, on their websites and everything is on our webpage and you can go there. If you want to go learn more about what David is doing, I think his IMDb is there and you can find it all. So one-stop shop. But thank you guys so much for your time this evening, and I hope everybody has a great night.
Thank
Good to see
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Stay safe, everyone.
You too.
Thanks.